Hey folks, let's explore the 16th Street train station in Oakland. I mean, why not? It's been sitting here since 1912. Anyway, take a look at all this cool, grimy corrosion and grit. Take a look at this, though. This is how it used to look. Wow, man, what a difference, right? Let's fly through here and take a look. A side note, I'm also trying, this is my first flight with the Mavic 2 Pro. And look at the way that it really picks up the detail in the highlights and the shadows of the frame. It really has, I really like this camera a lot. I do love my Phantom 4 Pro V2, but the Mavic, I think, offers a few more features that I'm going to like when I explore, because it has less of a footprint to get tangled up in wires and things that I might not see. And, you know, it's just less bulky and it can fit in a little tighter area a little more comfortably, I think. And it gets a little less wonky around metal. And I always fly around metal, so that's important. But let's look through this train station. You know, this thing sits here on the side of the freeway. Well, a side of a couple freeways, actually. There's interchanges right there. There's a 580 and 80 and 880. And it sits right there alongside the freeways there, and it's a historical building, I think. I'm not sure what they're doing with it. If they're doing anything at all, sometimes it looks like they are, sometimes it looks like they've forgotten about it, but there is a guard there that stays there all day and all night. I'll show you that later in the video. But let's look at that train tower back there. Look at that. And I'm going to show you a picture of what it used to look like. Look at that, as that Amtrak sits in front of the building there, and that's how the not guard tower, that's how the control tower used to look. Take a look at this too, man. I'm going to fly out here with my Mavic 2 Pro right on through the gate, man. And we're going to go out here into this little open roof area, and you can see Oakland and all that in the background back there. All those buildings in the back, those are new homes or condos or something, apartments that have been built up around this area. You know, and it's just, this building sat here, like I say, they built it in 1912, and I don't know what they're doing with it, but this is a chance for me to get out and fly for the first time the Mavic 2 Pro, and this was a good place to do it. I visited this place before I flew drones, and explored the area. That's all I'm going to say, but without a drone, and doing it with the drone just offers it a really cool new way to not have to trespass, but still take a look at something that's really, really pretty and unusual, you know. Let's go up to the top here. You know, this building, I'm not a historian and an architectural guy or anything like that, but I will say that this is built in the BEAUX, Bravo Echo Alpha Uniform X-ray style of design from France. Whatever that means, I think it just means that it has those really cool looking bricks and, you know, things and little rails like that. That's what I think it means. But anyway, look at the top of the roof. It certainly needs a roof. And you can see all the way back to the ports of Oakland back there, and all those new condos that they've built up around this, which is quite a contrast if you look to the other side of the building, which I'll show you here in a little bit. It's a complete wasteland of, I mean, it looks like a third world country of homeless tents and camps and everything else, but I'm not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about the building and the Mavic 2 Pro. Something I really like about this drone, you know, I usually fly the Phantom 4 V 2.0. This drone seems to be a lot less wonky around metal, like I said earlier, and I really like that. It has a smaller footprint as far as it's not, you know, the Phantom 4 stands high up off the ground, and so it's got that big bottom metal, you know, that big bottom landing gear on it, and that just gives more opportunity to, you know, get caught in something or to tap something while I'm flying low. And so I can appreciate the more slim design of this drone than the Phantom 4. But the Phantom 4 camera, man, is smooth butter, baby. That is, I really like that camera. I do like this one too. Unfortunately, like a goofball, I didn't have my settings correct on this one, and this is shot in the color style that is, you know, is on the Mavic, which is like True Color or something like that. I would have liked to have had it in D-Log, but I thought I did, and I didn't anyway. That's what I get for rushing. But let's fly around here and take a look at this. And you can see, I mean, this isn't slowed down or anything like this. This is just me flying around. It was pretty easy to control. it did respond differently than the Phantom 4, and I do miss the way that big controller of the Phantom 4 rests against my body when I'm operating the joysticks with my fingertips and the tablet, and it's just resting against my body. I don't have that same comfortable feel in my hand that I do with the Phantom 4, and that's pretty important. I've really got to get used to the way this controller fits in my hand and doesn't rest as well against my body. But that being said, I'll get used to that. That's fine. That's not a problem. I work around that and adapt. But it does respond and fly differently than the Phantom 4, and I don't really know how to explain it other than it might, I guess I could adjust the sensitivity of it or something like that, but it doesn't seem to be as responsive as the Phantom 4 is the best way I can explain it. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you had the Phantom 4, and as soon as you touch that control, I mean, it moved right then, and this doesn't have that. And that's okay. I've just got to adapt myself to learning the way that it moves, and that's fine. What is this? As if graffiti ever made any real sense, this is probably the most nonsense thing I could have ever seen in graffiti. There's the homeless camps over there, but let's take another look around back here at the building itself, the 16th Street train station. I love, flying over big stacks like this, whether it's like some kind of smokestack or furnace or something more devious. They burned all the lost luggage in the furnace. And anyway, but look at this. Something cool about this is that metal around the top, it's all one piece and it's bolted or whatever kind of way they fixed it in there. Look at that, man. It's really cool. People climbed up there brick by brick, put this thing together, man, and it's still standing. 1912. That's a long time. And, it's really cool the way they built all this stuff back then, man. And this roof and all this is just decaying and falling apart. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with this. But let's look at the front of it, man. It's really cool. You can see what I'm talking about. Some of this architecture and the style, that it was built with, that BEAU style from France. Super Francy. But look at this. There's a camera there. If you go onto the property, that camera will see you. Is it a dummy camera? I don't know, but the white car in the background definitely has a security guard in it. See? Don't be fooled. He is there, and he does get out and walk around. And that car, I used to think it was a plant, that it was just sat there all the time to kind of, prevent people from going on there. But there is somebody in there. So, don't just go onto this property. I don't advise that. Now, going there with a drone, it's actually better than going and walking around there anyway, because you get to see some really cool stuff. But I love all this old patina-like fleur-de-lis filigree chains and rusted copper. This is just really pretty stuff, man. Look at these bricks and just the way that it was designed. I mean, you can see the age and the character in this. And this camera picks up all that really, really nicely. Look at the right side of the frame. It's bright. The left side of the frame is much darker, and it does a great job. Both the range, the dynamic range in that on that frame, or on the sensor, it's just really nice. It does a not that the Phantom 4 didn't, but this just does a little bit better job in some ways and on some things than the Phantom 4 did. But man, we're going to get really close to this too, and I'm going to show you. Now, I fly with obstacle avoidance off. I just keep my radar on. Part of the problem that you can kind of encounter with that is when you're flying close to a building like this, there is lots of reflective ways for the propeller, the prop wash to, bounce around, and also just air and wind that's occurring in the environment to hit off of the walls and bounce back at the drone. So, flying without obstacle avoidance, do it at your own risk. Here we get in real close, and, we get some really cool footage of all the texture and everything on this, and I just think it does a great job. That's really, really pretty. And it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, that chain plate is in that wall, man. There's some screen over the window here to protect it probably from birds and people maybe vandalizing it, throwing things at it. These are really pretty big windows to let a lot of light into this building. How beautiful that would have been to be on the inside and see all that sunlight coming in, man. Because you can see this building right here. We begin to see some sunlight on it. And it was kind of later in the evening that we did this. And there's just a lot of sunlight that this building catches and reflects in some nice, really gold, warm tones. And to see all that light coming in through those windows would have been really nice. And here's some more rusty chain with the patina, you know, mounted into the wall there, and all that rust dripping down, and the texture there on the brick is really just really pretty. And this camera does a great job at picking it all up. Look at those huge windows. I'm going to pull away slow. Look at all that beautiful sunlight. You know, it's just a really pretty scene. And there's another camera on the light post there too. There's a couple of them that I never knew were there until I got the drone and I flew over. But look at all this old, I don't know what this stuff means. I've tried to look it up. It looks like some sort of shafts with some binding around it and some, you know, fleur-de-lis or filigree type stuff on there. I don't know. I tried to find some symbolism, some meaning in this and why they chose to put that, you know, right there, but I couldn't find anything on that. And it just, I mean, it looks nice. You know, this is just a beautiful building, and we'll kind of get my gimbal. I did readjust the gimbal settings on here because they, you know, I don't want a super slow gimbal. I want one that moves fairly quick. I want to be able to control it slow if I want. I don't want it just to be slow all the time. I hate that. I want to be able to do it myself, and so I had to adjust that later on. But here's the cooler side of the building, and I mean cooler by color temp. No sun is really hitting this corner of the building, so there's no, you know, you could definitely see the cameras picking up that bluish cooler tone in there, as opposed to the left side of the building there where you can see the warmer tones. So the camera does great. I didn't color grade this. This is all straight out of camera. You know, the camera does a great job. Up there on the top, the exposure is a little hot, but it's a white roof with the sun blasting right on top of it. So kind of expect a little bit of blowout there, I would imagine. I could have adjusted my settings a little bit more, took the shutter speed down just a little bit, but you can always do this or that, you know. And here, you know, we fly around and we take a look at some of these old railings and stuff up there on the top. You know, there's just a lot of old texture and lots of old cool things in this building. I think they're doing some kind of, up to the left over there, community garden or something in this parking lot. I'm not sure what they're doing in the front part of the parking lot there, where the passengers for the trains would have parked, or the people waiting for the trains and stuff like that, the customers would have parked. I think they've got that rented out. Yeah, some kind of community garden or something like that up there in the front. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, sharing this first flight with you on the Phantom, the Mavic 2 Pro. I got to catch myself because I usually fly with the Phantom 4. Now I've got to say that I fly with the Mavic 2 Pro, even though I still have the Mavic Pro V2.0 and I love it and I'm going to use it all the time still, but I just use it for something not, you know, more business, not really explorative like this. But anyway, guys, like and subscribe. Take care. I've got a new video coming out on the Ketty Y railroad trestle that crosses the Feather River. Stay tuned for that. Super cool, man. Take care, folks.